It's a story of a poor farmer named Rao. It's about resilience, and really, it's about how we handle that frustrating, uncomfortable space between our effort and our rewards. So let me ask you, have you ever worked tirelessly for something only to see absolutely zero results? I mean, really think about it. Maybe it's a stalled project at work, a new business you're trying to get off the ground, a fitness goal, or a really difficult skill you're trying to learn. You are putting in the hours, you are doing the grueling work, and the needle just isn't moving. We've all been there, right? Well, that intense, modern frustration is exactly what we are going to explore today, through an ancient feeling struggle that perfectly captures the psychology of our own daily battles. Let's introduce Rao. He lived in a small village and worked a very small field. But what his land lacked in size, he completely made up for in massive, massive effort. Rao's situation wasn't comfortable at all. It was raw survival, and his commitment to his work was absolutely unwavering. Okay, let's dive into this routine, because the sheer volume of his daily effort is absolutely crucial to understand. Every single day, without fail, woke before the sun rose? Check. Washed his face, drank some water, and walked to the field? Check. He dug into the brutally hard, dry land, planted the seeds, and watered them with absolute care. Boom, boom, boom. It was a fast, rhythmic, unforgiving grind. He did everything right. You know, he put in the sweat equity. He controlled every single variable that he physically could control. And after all of that, he just had to wait. Rowdy did the work, but the environment did not cooperate. Let that sink in for a second. One day passed, then another day. The sun stayed incredibly strong, just beating down on the earth, and the plants stayed completely weak. Every single morning, Rao looked up at the empty sky. Every night, he prayed. The reality of the situation was really setting in. He had done everything right, and yet nothing was happening. And you know how it goes when we're struggling. The external noise always starts to creep in. The villagers began to whisper, "This year is bad. No rain means no food." Gossip is so dangerous because it feeds our internal fears. Raid heard these words and they took root in his mind. The anxiety led to sleepless nights. His chest felt heavy. The terrifying thought of losing absolutely everything began to completely consume him. The physical and mental toll was just immense. One evening, Rao just sat down near his field, completely broken. His hands were dirty from the relentless effort. His eyes were tired from the lack of sleep. His chest was heavy with anxiety, and his mind was just spinning with the what-ifs. What if everything fails? What if I lose this field? He sat there truly believing that his immense hard work was totally, completely useless. Now, as Rao sat there in despair, an old man, walking very slowly, carrying a simple clay pot, happens to pass by. The old man stops, looks at Rao, and asks a pretty profound question. "Why do you look so broken, my son?" Rao just spills his heart out, explaining his pain, how he works every single day but nothing changes, and how he feels his hard work is completely useless. And what the old man does next is fascinating. He sits down and essentially performs an audit on Ray's actions. He breaks down the logic of the entire situation. He asks softly, "Did you plant the seeds?" Raul says, "Yes." "Did you water them?" "Yes." "Did you protect the field?" "Yes." The old man confirms that Raul has flawlessly executed every single thing within his power. And then he drops this incredibly insightful question. Then why do you fight tomorrow? This brings us to the core philosophical anchor of our explainer. A seed does not grow because you worry. It grows because you wait. I mean, wow. It perfectly captures the total futility of anxiety. We cannot force outcomes by stressing over them. The worry doesn't add water to the soil, right? It just drains the farmer. Rao admits he's afraid and that his mind is full of bad thoughts. The old man smiles gently and gives him this striking piece of advice. When fear fills the mind, strength leaves the body. He's explaining the direct physical cost of mental panic. To preserve your physical strength, you absolutely must manage your mental fear. He stands up and gives Rao a singular, crystal clear directive. Do your work tomorrow, nothing more, nothing less. And then he just walks away. Now look, human psychology doesn't work like magic. Rao's mindset wasn't instantly fixed overnight. The next day arrives and guess what? The sun is hot, the soil is still dry, there is no rain. And the fear comes rushing right back. For a moment, Ra actually stops working. He sits down in the dirt, whispers, "What is the use? Nothing will change." And his eyes fill with tears. He is crying in silence. There's no old man there to comfort him this time. There is only the harsh reality of the dry field and his own overwhelming doubt. But then, the real breakthrough happens. In that silence, Rao closes his eyes and remembers the words, "Do your work today." Slowly, he stands up. With incredibly tired hands, he starts working again. And this is the most crucial distinction. He didn't work with sudden magical hope. He didn't work with overflowing joy. He worked with patience. He told himself, "I will finish today, tomorrow can wait." And as he pushes through that doubt, we finally see the shift. That very evening, the wind changes. Dark clouds slowly roll in. And then the reward arrives. But notice how it arrives. It doesn't pour all at once. Minutes pass. Then soft drops touch the soil. Finally, the rain comes gently. It wasn't a violent, loud cinematic storm. It was just a steady, quiet rain. It was enough. The reward perfectly matched his steady, quiet patience. Days later, small green plants finally appeared. Life returned to the field. But I really love how realistic this story is. The crop was not some fairy tale massive harvest. It wasn't perfect. But hey, it was food. And it grew. It was enough to survive. In fact, other farmers came up to him and asked, "How did you not give up?" And Rao simply smiled and admitted, "I almost did, but I learned to wait." Rao's realization that he almost quit but learned to wait is such a profound summary of human endurance. It's time to distill all of this into the core lesson we can apply to our own lives. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how it perfectly divides our lives. This is the old mare's wisdom distilled into a highly actionable modern framework. On one hand, you have what is actually in your control: your effort, your work, and today. That is it. On the other hand, you have what is decidedly not in your control: the results, the weather, and tomorrow. So much of our anxiety comes from desperately trying to control the things on the right side of that equation, when our entire focus should solely be on the left. One evening, Razu is sitting by his field again, and the old man returns. The old man notes that patience keeps the heart strong, and Razu finally understands. He says, "Life is like farming. Fear makes us stop. Patience helps us stand." Patience isn't just passive waiting. It is the active mechanism that keeps your heart strong and keeps you standing when the results you desperately want are delayed. The ultimate takeaway of this explainer is this: do your work today. Let tomorrow grow slowly. We absolutely must learn to decouple our daily effort from the immediate demand for outcomes. You have to plant your seeds, do the grueling daily work, and then have the incredible psychological discipline to simply let it be. So I want to turn this mirror directly back to you. Look at your own stalled projects, your own daily grinds, where the rain just hasn't come yet. What seeds are you waiting for? Are you letting fear drain your strength? Or are you practicing the active patience required to let tomorrow grow slowly? Keep showing up, do the work today, and let go of tomorrow. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep learning, and I'll see you next time.